Yep.
Have you heard about the ban on conversion in Latin America being based on Jewish pimps bringing in non-Jewish girls, and they ended up wanting to convert in the 20s, and so they tried to stop this practice?
I didn't hear a phrase like that. Although I like your once upon a time in South America approach. It first happened in 1905 in Argentina. There was a rabbi in the Syrian community. His name is Rabbi Sutton, not Satan, but Sutton. I think Suttan or En, one of those. So what men were doing back then, because nobody wants to marry a Jewish woman, I'm going to give you like a little glimpse into the Jewish world. When a woman converts in Judaism, she doesn't last more than 2 months in the market because every Jewish guy wants to marry her because nobody wants to marry a Jewish woman. I'm telling you. I'm sorry. At least American. Okay. In Israel, it's different. There's a mixture. But in America, nobody wants to marry a Jewish woman.
Why?
So, because they're nuts. That's why. I mean, I'm telling you, Jewish women are nuts. Yeah. Also in Israel as well. They typically don't respect the men. They don't respect men. They're super feminist, and anyways, they don't want to do it. And so what the men were doing in Argentina was basically falling in love with Gentile women and just getting them converted, and then they would marry them. So this rabbi didn't like that because I think the approach was he didn't go into the letter. There's a letter that he wrote on why he instituted this takana, he called it, in the Syrian community. He didn't say that they weren't sincere converts, but they were converting basically to get married. Now, a lot of people convert, become more religious than the person they converted for, no doubt. So because of that, they outlawed conversion first in Argentina. And then, I believe it was in the 40s, that they got Rav Kook, who was at that time the chief rabbi of Palestine before Israel became a state. Or maybe he was the chief rabbi, I'm sorry, maybe of just Jerusalem. But anyways, they got him on board to basically agree that Israel, the new rabbinut that they were trying to form, would also not accept converts from not just Argentina, but from all of Latin America. And till today, they don't accept converts anywhere. It doesn't matter who converted you in Latin America, they won't accept you. Now, there are ways to get out of there. In other words, you could go to Israel and convert there. Although to enter a conversion program in Israel, you have to be there for minimum 1 year when you can't work, so you need some money. And most yeshivas won't let you sleep there if you're not Jewish. They'll let you learn there, they will let you eat there, but you can't sleep there. Now, recently, there's a program that opened up in Machon Meir. They have a program for converts there. I think as of maybe 15 years ago, I don't know how old this is, but they have what's called kibbutz conversion, which is that you go to a kibbutz. I know that kibbutz Yavne and kibbutz Eliyahu. I mean, most kibbutzim aren't religious. That's why, but I know these two who are particularly religious, they had conversion programs. So what you do is that you work half the day, and then half the day you learn for conversion. And there are conversions, recognized by the Rabbanut. Any conversion done in Israel is recognized by the Rabbanut just because it's illegal to perform conversions in Israel that aren't done under the auspices of the rabbinate. So people could do it like that from South America. One story that I have to mention, we did a huge conversion in Ecuador. If you go on YouTube and type in Ecuador conversion, you'll see we converted over 100 people. I think 7 years ago, 8 years ago. A very religious community. It was a Messianic community who stopped believing in JC, and they were there and they would just get together and do their things. But the Israelis would come at the time, they would make fun of them and tell them that you're not Jewish, you can't keep Shabbat, you can't study Torah, da 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 da. Fine. So we took these people under our wing. I shipped them a Torah scroll and books, and I set up a Beit Din to convert them. I flew down to Ecuador. It's a beautiful conversion. It's all online on YouTube. And they had a synagogue. They had everything a community could have with the exception of a mikvah. They were forced to go to the beach. Shortly after, a Chabad opened up in that city because we opened the first synagogue in Guayaquil. There was never a synagogue in Guayaquil, Ecuador. The second one was the Chabad that opened up, and this Chabad built a mikvah. Now, this Chabad refused to let the women in that community use their mikvah.
Wow.
Believe that. I'm telling you, people don't know what garbage Chabad is in South America. Okay? Now, it wasn't just me on the Beit Din. I had a Satmar Chassid. I had a Sephardi Jew. Okay, if they don't like me, according to Shulchan Aruch, the conversion is still valid b'diavad if there's two people there. Fine. So anyways, one of the girls in that group wanted more recognition because Chabad wouldn't accept her because of all the stigma that she converted in Latin America. So she went to Israel to get reconverted. Her last name was Mosqueda, and you guys could look this up. While she was in her conversion program in Israel, she was killed in a terrorist attack.
What?
And then after she's killed, Chabad, the garbage organization, writes a whole article about her on what a righteous convert, she is and all this stuff, when it's basically their actions that forced her to go to Israel to try to get reconverted just because they don't follow halakha and try to accept the conversion that was done properly. So anyways, it seems that these Jews prefer their converts dead.
Wow.
Right? And people never talk about this stuff. The nonsense that people have to go through in the Jewish world when everything that we push, at least on my channel, is according to halakha. The reason I come up on top in all my debates, it's because I stick to the law. I don't have to know much, but I just have to know more than that person. And for some reason, just by sticking by the halakha, I'm able to come up on top. It shows that they don't study the halakha. Now, they may study other halachot, but regarding converts, they don't study it. It's the simplest thing. It's so simple. If you ask the average rabbi, he'll be like, oh, it's complicated, It's because he's never looked into it. But anyways,